Hi, I'm just a mess. Welcome back. My name is Jenna, if you didn't know that. I'm here today to tell you about a musical you probably have never heard of. So, the musical we're here to talk about today is one that I love. I did it in high school, which is super weird because I did a lot of weird shows in high school, but this was one of the weirder ones. It's a musical called 1776, and it is awesome. So some fun facts about 1776. It hasn't been revived since 1997. It holds the record for a musical for the longest span between two songs. There's literally a half-hour scene of just the delegates talking in the courtroom, wherever they're talking. In that room, they spend a half hour in there. It's really fun. It's one of those musicals where you have to listen rather than sit there and clap along and it's oh, fun. No, this is more of if you listen to what they're saying, you realize they're roasting each other the entire time, and it's really funny. This show has music and lyrics by Sherman Edwards and a book by Peter Stone, and it originally premiered on Broadway in 1969. Now, the musical is about, you know how Hamilton is about George Washington and Hamilton and the battles, and you hear about John Adams but you never see him? This is kind of the opposite. This is the other end of that. This is, you hear about George Washington but you never see him. The main character is John Adams and Ben Franklin, and it's literally about them trying to write and get the Declaration of Independence instilled and signed. And yeah, that sounds a little boring. It's a little thrown off when my director first announced it, but the music is gorgeous. There's not a lot of songs. The songs that there are awesome. It's one of my favorite soundtracks. I listen to it all the time. The writing, like I said, it's just kind of those for the Declaration and those against the Declaration. It's them roasting each other for 2 hours. It's really awesome. The original John Adams was William Daniels. You might know him better as Mr. Feeney in Boy Meets World, but he was the original John Adams when it was on Broadway, and he was in the film, and he's on the soundtrack. He's really awesome. He's great. And John Adams, even though they make fun of him in Hamilton, here he's kind of how Alexander Hamilton is written in Hamilton. He doesn't put up with any BS. He's fighting for what he believes in, and he really is just not the most pleasant person to always be around, but he's awesome. It's really a great show. When I was in it, I played Dr. Josiah Bartlett, the delegate from New Hampshire. I had 6 lines, and one of them was interrupting a song about slavery and telling Edward Rutledge to sit down. There's songs about slavery. It's wild. It's crazy. I feel I'm not describing it well, but I promise you, if you watch it and you check it out and you're willing to listen to it, it's really something else. Like I said, there's a film, and the movie is great. I literally love the movie. It was exactly like our production of it, so I think most of the changes are very minor. It won the Tony Award for Best Musical in 1969. Actually, there's some crazy facts about this show. William Daniels, who was the original John Adams, was nominated for Best Actor in a Featured Role for the Tony Awards. He declined the nomination. The only reason he was considered Best Featured Actor was because his name was underneath 1776 on the title billboard thing. He felt he should have been nominated for Best Actor, rejected the nomination. The guy who played Richard Henry Lee, who was not even that relevant of a character, then got nominated and won. They were invited to perform at the White House, but a majority of the cast was not the same political party as the president of the time, so they literally almost didn't go just because no one in the cast liked the president. These actors were as tough as their characters were. It really is crazy. I really just love this show a lot, and it really stinks that it hasn't been revived since 1997. If you watch it or you perform it, you kind of see that there are almost similarities to today. A little bit. Doing it in this political climate, I was kind of this is about 300 years ago, and we are still like this today. It's very fun. very fighting. There's a lot of fighting. There's a cane fight. Oh, I just spoiled it. That's like one of the best parts. I might be biased because I was in it, but it's wonderful. The cast, obviously, back then, all the politicians were men. So the cast is typically all male. Most of the songs are for men, except for Abigail Adams and Martha Jefferson. Other than that, everyone else is supposed to be a man. But if you're interested in hearing women sing the songs, and they did a 54 Below concert, I think just last year. It was an all-women concert singing these songs, and it was so cool. I didn't go, but I listened to it, and it was wonderful. Actually, this musical does Thomas Jefferson way different than Hamilton does, as you probably know if you're a theater fan and you like Hamilton. Thomas Jefferson in Hamilton is very brash and like show-offish, and you really like are like, ooh, like you're taken aback by him. Here he's so quiet and reserved, and he like there's literally his wife is singing about how the reason she likes him is because he's not trying to charm her with words. This musical downplays Thomas Jefferson a lot more. But if you're interested in history, if you like Hamilton, but you're interested in another version of American independence, if you're interested in another version of the US forming as a country in musical form, this is a really, really great one to check out. I love it. I think part of that comes from being in it. But this is one of the ones where I watched the movie the first time, and I was like, this sucks. This is terrible. And then I watched it again, and I was like, wait, I just need to listen to what they were saying rather than just stare at it and get distracted when they sing. Because if you listen, like what they're saying is so interesting, and like the names they call each other are so interesting. They attack each other kind of a lot, and it's so interesting and fun. And the last song that John Adams sings is like one of my favorite theater songs of all time. It's so good. It's so good. Oh my gosh, it's so good. So, if you've never heard of this musical and you really are fond of the history side of things, definitely I recommend this show 100%. The soundtrack is so light and fun, and the plot is really kind of intense almost. It's crazy because you're at first you're going to be like, this is terrible. I don't know what they're saying. I don't understand. Like, if you're like me at least and you didn't pay attention the first time. But then once you just start listening and you realize that they're just calling each other crazy names and they genuinely have this passionate hatred of each other, it's really, really fun, and it's really, really great. And I recommend it 100%. So yeah, if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to hear me talk more about obscure musicals you might not know, or maybe a musical you've heard of but you don't know what it's about, or you don't know what the soundtrack's like, or you don't know if you'd like it or not, then you should subscribe, because I have a lot of fun musicals I'm going to be talking about that I love and that I think are wonderful, that they either haven't been revived in a while, or people just don't know about them. They're super low key, whatever it might be. I will be talking about them here. And if you have any obscure or unusual musicals you'd like to hear me talk about and watch and research and listen to and then present to the internet, you can comment that below and I will look into it. Stick around, because I got some more of these kinds of videos coming up. I have a lot more videos coming up where I spill some tea. I guess that's me spilling it on myself. I spill some tea, and I have some unpopular opinions that I would like to talk about. So stick around, and I will see you guys in my next video. By the way, here are some pictures of me as Dr. Josiah Bartlett from New Hampshire. They'll be around here. I just wanted to include these because I was actually really proud of the role. That was the first time I ever had lines in a musical, and coincidentally it was my senior year. So yeah, he was a lot of fun and I love him. Shout out to you, Josiah. I think this video came out okay. My background's really light. I'm in my dorm room. I have nothing else to say.